this is Seneva.
And this is Johannes.
And you are watching Board Gaming Ramblings.
And today we are bringing you our review for Revive.
Yes, this is a Eurogame and it plays from 1 to 4 players.
It is designed by Christian Amundsen Østby, Helge Meisner, Anna Wermlund and Eilif Svensson. Published by Aporta Games.
Yes, so these are Norwegian people.
They are.
Yeah.
That's why we said, like, I said it in a different kind of voice, in my Norwegian person voice.
Yes.
So these are 4 people that we know, and we borrowed this copy from Christian, one of the designers, so just that you know that before going into it. So yeah, let's talk about Revive. And first of all, if you're new here, if this is like the first Board Gaming Ramblings video you've seen, please click the subscribe button to make us happy. Boom, happy.
Yeah.
Happy smiles.
Want to have you here all the time, so...
More videos are coming, and if you are a subscriber, you can see them. You can see them without subscribing, but it's even more fun for us if you subscribe.
And you, yeah.
Somehow, I don't know how. So let's talk about Revive.
Yeah.
First of all, brief overview of the game. If you are new to the channel, we do not do like rules explanations or go deeply into the rules. So just like giving you a gist of the game so that the rest of the video hopefully makes more sense. Yeah. In Revive, you are playing one of 6 factions that are trying to revive the world, because the world ended thousands of years ago. The different tribes of the world ended up living in caves, getting different religions, different like ideologies, stories of how the world ended and why the world ended. And now you're coming up from the caves and you are reviving the world. If you know our channel, that's more theme than I ever said in any video about any game.
I'm proud of you.
So good for me. Give us a thumbs up for that. So yeah, what are you doing in the game? It's a Euro game, so you're going to do Euro stuff. You're going to choose 2 actions on your turn. You can do 1 or you can do 2. And there's another action we're going to talk about later. So what you're going to be doing is you're going to play some cards. You're going to explore. You're going to build buildings, repopulate, and you have this little switch on your little board that you also can use. You can do the same action once or you can do it
twice.
That's right.
Yes.
So you have a map, you have a huge player board, you're going to see pictures of them on the screen. I think that's enough for like the brief little overview, and we're going to do the rest later on in the video. If you forget, sorry, you can also go and check out Rado's video with a more of a gameplay, playthrough style video for the game. So as always, where do we start with the reviewing part of the video? As always,
we're starting at the artwork and components.
Yeah.
I have no complaints in this game. It's very nice. The board has a nice layout to it. The symbols are very easy to spot. The different terrain types are easy to differentiate. Yeah. And it's easy to see like, oh, that's a good space to be or not to be. That is Hamlet.
The question.
Yeah. But also I think the artwork for the different factions are really nice. There aren't a lot of artwork in the game, but the things that are on the cards and stuff are, beautiful.
And but there is a lot of artwork like on the game board and the player board and all of that.
Yeah.
Like it looks very good. I will say like I enjoy like the Magnificent and Santa Maria. Santa Maria has a kind of like cartoon art style. The Magnificent has more of the dark art style. This is kind of like a blend. I'm pretty sure it's 2 different designers, 2 different artists on the game.
Cool.
And I think it looks beautiful, and I think both look-wise and production quality-wise, I think it's the best game Aporta Games has done.
Oh yeah.
Like you have the big
really
player
nice
boards that are really cool looking, and they have double layer where they need double layers. Like the only thing you could have wished for is that the faction boards were double layered for some of the buildings and the things you put on them. Doesn't bother me, but you will see it that when you have the other one with the double layer, you will be thinking, oh, why isn't this double layer? Probably the reason is that you use both of the sides.
Oh, yeah.
So it would be like, we've seen that in a couple of games now where like the basic side doesn't have double layer and then the expert mode has double layered. So that's one thing that I would have liked to see. Yeah. But all in all, I think the production is stellar. I really enjoy both the look and the feel of the game. It's a Euro game, and I think the artwork is very good.
Yeah, what did you think about the rule books and the player aid?
Oh, the rulebook! This one here, you might say?
Yes.
It's a good one.
It is
nice. 24 pages, but quite a few pages of them are just like the explanation of the symbols, which I really like. There is explanation of the different factions, abilities, all of the abilities for the cards and the scoring cards. And really well laid out up here as well. Like telling you, probably you can't see, but like the setup, how to play, actions, game end, and reference. So if you need like the how to play or the setup, you can know, oh, you're at setup now. So it's very well laid out with good examples. Everything is pretty clear. There's one thing that I do not like, but we're going to talk about that a bit later in the review. Player rates, there are very simple player rates. It's a card that you basically probably just going to use in one of your games. The first game, you enjoyed having it to just be able to see everything.
It.
But it's not like telling you how the actions work. It's just telling you what the actions are. But I think that they are very good, just like they have in Santa Maria, for example. On the back side of the buildings you build, it says what the building costs. If you're doing building this thing, you don't need, oh, how does that work again? You look at it and say, oh, I'm going to pay that and I'm going to build it. And that's the same thing here.
Yeah, I agree. The actions in itself are so simple that it's very easy to remember how they work, but remembering what you can do on your turn and also the special action that we're going to explain later is very nice to have, so you know what all your possibilities, so you don't forget.
The only thing we are referencing, but that's just something because I enjoy doing it that way, is the final scoring. Because I like to do it in the order because I'm weird, and I like to do it that way so I don't forget anything.
Oh, that's true.
And then somebody thinks, oh, I won, and they didn't. But there's quite a few scoring, post-scoring categories at the end, but that's not like a negative thing. It's just like a thing that it doesn't have that on a card or anything, but it doesn't really need it. And since there's no round structure, it's not like start of round, refresh, is just going around and around and around. You don't really need, like we always say at the back of the please tell us like the reference of the game. You don't need it here because it's like you start and then we play it round and around and around until the game ends. How did you feel like in learning the game? We're going to talk more about that maybe later, but like in the first time you learned it, did you feel like it was a complex thing?
No, actually not. It felt very straightforward. I didn't really have any problems with that, and as I said, I thought I would need to use the player aid more than I actually needed for the different things.
The only thing you couldn't get, even after a gazillion plays, was that you were going to do 2 actions on your turn. So every time it was your turn, you do one thing like, I'm done.
I'm done. Like, no, I'm not.
You only did 1 action.
Yes. We have played Revive 6 times now, and we played it with 2 players and 4 players. And it's taken about 30 minutes per player.
I would say like not exactly 30 minutes per player.
Yeah, it's been pretty, The
first time we played, and first time plays always take longer, we spent 75 minutes on a 2-player game.
That's not
which is
too bad.
Crazy.
Yeah.
And then we played a 4-player game which took exactly 2 hours. But then we just played it once and the others haven't played it before, which is also really nice. And after that we have only played 2 players because that's what we had the possibility to do. And we played it in maximum an hour.
Yeah.
And that is, all we're going to say, that's a lot of game. In an hour.
Yeah.
Some of our favorite like medium style Euro games like Cost of Burgundy, Grand Austria Hotel,
Rogers the Ganges.
Many of these are like 1 hour experiences. I don't mind a 4, 5, 6 hour long game, but when sitting down and you feel like you've done so much and you look on BG stats and it's like, oh, 1 hour, that's crazy. And that's the feeling I got from playing this game.
I agree. It's like a medium weight game for me.
Yeah, this is new in the reviews. Boom! We wanted to see if you want us to like tell what do we feel is the weight of the game.
Yeah.
I wanted to have like an introduction, but you were just like boom right into it because you were just punching down the doors.
I didn't know that
medium
it was like
game.
Being official and stuff.
Boom! But we haven't talked about that. So if you want us to continue like telling you, is this a heavy game, a lighter game? Let us know in the comments. We're probably not going to spend a lot of time on it, just going to let us feel like what kind of a genre. If we can, if you want this, I haven't spoken to you about it, but I can edit it out. If you see this, I didn't edit it out. If you'd like us to also compare it to another, like 1 or 2 other games in the same weight genre, let us know. I'm not going to do that on the spot now. But
because I was going to ask you, could you do that on the spot now?
I know, I don't think so. Like for me, it's very hard to like it. We have like light, medium, and heavy, and then you have like something in between there. But this for me is kind of it's on the upper end of medium. Like it's not medium heavy. But it's more than many other kind of medium games because there's so many things to do, but the game is very smooth.
Oh yeah, that was what I was going to say. It's a medium game for me, but
Yeah.
it has like this essentially simple rules, but enough crunch that in an hour it's a lot of game, and it just like flows so nicely. So it's very simple, like easy to get to the table. I feel like
we spent so much time talking about all this other stuff.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the gameplay.
game.
And first of all, we're gonna go into the thing that might turn some people off. Is that you're gonna see the word campaign here and
Campaign.
there. It's gonna be people gonna say like, oh, have you played a campaign? Did you start a campaign? The game has a 5-part campaign, and Christian wanted us to play that, so we have played the whole thing and then another game after that. That's why we played so many times in such a short time. So yeah, first of all, what is this campaign?
It's basically more of a what do you call it? Some introductionary style to give both the game some flavor. So it has like some thematic things that you read, but essentially it just eases you into the mechanisms. So this is, I think, Aporta's most complicated game.
It feels that way.
It feels that way for us.
We haven't asked the designers if they agree. But I feel that way.
That is our theory.
Haha.
So I think that maybe they have chosen to do this easing into the rules because of a little higher complexity for the game, and it's nice for people that haven't played a lot of medium games before to have like not all of the stuff at the same time, and so it's nice to be eased a little into it.
Yeah, spoiler alert, I'm not gonna say a lot of negative things about this game. So the few negative things I have to say is right here. I'm not a fan of campaigns in Euro games because I want to play the Euro game, and I don't care about like a story in the Euro game. I usually don't care about the theme. Some, like here for example, I forget about the theme after I played it like 20 minutes. I don't know what the theme is yet. I'm just playing and trying to get points. And I know not all people are like that, and if you really love themes, I enjoy that they try to make like little introductions for, which basically the whole campaign is kind of little introductions for the different ideologies and the different kind of religions and stuff like that. I don't know if it's religions, but like the ideologies, that's a better word, for the different factions. One thing is that 5 games is a lot, because there's not that much. The game is pretty different like the first time from the 6th time, but the first time from the 2nd time is just like you add this one rule.
Yeah.
And it's not a very hard rule that you couldn't have played with the first time, and then you add, I'm not going to spoil everything, and before we go into that, if you don't want spoilers for this campaign, we're going to tell you about the game. The way the game is when it's after the campaign. There's no spoilers. It's not like, ooh, I unlocked a tile now. It's not a legacy game. It's not a campaign game either. It's just an introductory thing. I feel like this could have been done in like 3 games.
I agree.
You could have played like the first one as very basic. Then you could have added, like there's basically 4 rules that you add and some more tiles and stuff. You could have added, after the first game, you could have added the special powers and the switch rule. And then after that, you could have added basically almost everything and then add the last thing after the last game. I felt like there was, as you said like, I wouldn't have known there was new things in the game if you didn't tell me.
Yeah.
Because they're so nuanced, these changes. So I wouldn't need there to be 5 games for you to get into that. Of course you could, when you get the game, just go through the campaign pile of cards, just read through them and unlock all the stuff and play it from the beginning. And I would say that many game groups, including mostly us, like we play games for review, then we put it aside. And if you need to play this game like 6-7 times to get into the full, if you know that your group isn't gonna play a game 6 times, you could just like play a basic game and skip to the full game, or just skip to the full game in the beginning.
Yeah, that's true. I think like the positive with this game overall is that you get kind of the meaty experience from the first get-go.
Yeah.
In most other games that we play that introduces like a basic version first and then you get to the good stuff, the basic version can be too basic.
That's true.
Here I was like, it was a super cool game with the basic stuff. And also, when you have these different characters that you play with or factions, they are different in abilities that you want to experience, like, oh, how does this feel like? Either way. So I think it's natural that you play it more times, but I wouldn't need 5 times myself personally to get like to everything. Yeah.
That's true. Like 2 things more. One of them is that, spoiler alert, if you don't want spoilers for a Euro game, mute us for like 30 seconds. You will get like cards that tells you rules, and all of them are optional rules. So the designers kind of tells you these are kind of modules that you can play with or without. But I would say like playing without them after you have played the game, you will never do that, because that is the full experience of the game, and the game as good as it's getting. Maybe like there's one of them where you draft your starting cards, which you might not play, which also said not recommended with new players.
Yeah.
Shouldn't play that with new players.
Agree.
Other than that, everything else super simple. It doesn't feel like it's modules. It just feels like these are the rules.
Yeah.
And the thing I don't like, which I talk about in the rulebook section, is that you have 4 cards with rules, which are basically rules for the game that isn't in the rulebook. And that is kind of weird. It could have been like 1 page, like you even have the factions that you unlock in the campaign is here like in red text. You could have had a page that was in red text with the rules for the things in the campaign.
I agree.
Because that's kind of annoying that you have to have these 4 cards, but you're probably not going to forget the rules to them because there's very simple rules. So it's not that big of a problem, but it's just one thing that I would have liked there to be. I'm trying to find something negative to say about this game. With all of that out of the way, let's talk about the actual gameplay and if it's any fun, because those are the 2 things that are the most important to me and probably to you.
Yes.
Fun and fun and fun and cannons of fun. Is it fun? Is it good? Sounds like we're going to do like some kind of cool transition now, but I'm just basically going to stop talking and you will start. So, stopping.
Starting! Okay, let's go. So as you said earlier, you have 2 actions on your turn. You can do 2 of them. Yeah.
Or you can do one of them.
And you're trying to set up combos. And that is what I think is really cool with having 2 available options, because it's sometimes a very tactical game. Sometimes new opportunities rises. Let's say that you explore a cool piece on the board, and I was just like, oh, I would like to build a building because there's a lot of stuff there, and if you build adjacent to stuff, you get stuff.
And the stuff you get, to explain that so anything makes sense, not just stuff, is that when you build buildings, you will move on the 3 tracks on your player board.
Yes.
When you move on the tracks, you will unlock machines, and there can be some machines that are on the board and others you can choose. You build up your own little machine, and those you can spend energy to use those machines.
Yeah, as free actions. Yay, that's cool. So all the time you feel like sometimes you're setting up something that you feel like, oh, that's a really good spot. Someone else is gonna take that. But having that double action means that I can explore, see what happens, and be like, oh, okay, I need to do that. Or maybe I don't have resources.
Yeah.
But that I think like that tactical, you have this overall plan with scorings that you want to go for, but all throughout the game you have to be like, oh, what can I do now? It's very tactical, those decisions makings.
I really love it because you can very easily in this game have a plan, and that then get kind of like, oh, shiny over here, and you do something. The game we just played like half an hour before we filmed this review, I had this plan, I had to get this done, and this game just suddenly stops. When you think like the game is halfway done, it's going to be done in 5 minutes.
Yes.
And you're going to be like, what? And it was just this one thing I had to do, and it won me the game, and I almost did like 2-3 other actions that were like, oh, but this is good, and this can move on some tracks, and unlock some of this that gives me points. But then if I had done those and not the others, I would have lost like many points. And I really like that. There is a lot of interaction in the game.
Yeah, it is.
And most of that interaction, or almost all of it, is on the map. Of course, some of it is like, oh, you took the machine I wanted, or the car I wanted, or the module I wanted. But other than that, most of it is on the map. Yeah. And it is no direct conflict, no negative interaction, just as I said, that like tactical interaction. And I really love that feeling of, oh, I want to explore that, but if I explore that on my second round, or my second action, and you also are close to that because you need to have range to the things you want to do. So if you also are close and I flip the tile and it's super good placement for you, then I basically said like, oh, here we go, loads of movements on your tracks for free. So sometimes I need to do like a worse action for me to set myself up for a better action later, or maybe it's not that important for me to do the other action and I try to do the thing that might be good for you but also better for me.
Yeah, and also when to see like, oh, I don't have that many opportunities now. Now I need to hibernate. That is very interesting as
That's
well.
the thing we haven't talked about.
On that.
You can do it.
Well, you can do a hibernate action that basically gives you a bonus, but it also puts the used cards that you have in the discard pile, and you get new cards, and you reset all your energy for your machines again, so you start fresh and have a lot of more opportunities. So I thought in the beginning when we started playing the game that, oh, that is an action that you do often, like in Concordia, you have to get those cards up. But in some games we have played, we have only done that 2 times.
Most of the time it's been 2 and maximum of 3.
Yeah.
And that might be the way we have played and the group we played with it.
I think you can do different strategies around that.
That is true. One thing we haven't talked about, which is an important thing here, is all the different mechanisms that you have in the game. This is one of those games kind of like, well, not as much, but kind of like Bruxelles 1893, which has that, like, when you explain, it's like, oh, it has this mechanism, this mechanism, this mechanism, this mechanism, and my brain's like, nah, that's not gonna work, and then it works so well. And here, it works like butter, like it's so smooth.
It's smooth.
It's one of the smoothest games I have ever played. It's just like everything flows so well. The first thing I want to talk about, which is like the newest thing, or that feels really cool, is the card play of the game. Because the game has a pretty standard multi-use card. You have something on the top of the card and something on the bottom of the card, and you have 2 slots that are on the top of your player board and 2 slots on the bottom. So how does that work?
You play, if you play it on the top of the player board, you get resources. That's the usual thing on the top of the cards. If you play it on the bottom, it's usually an action. And so you want to be like, oh, I want to play it in that specific slot. You may have some bonuses for that specific slot.
Because that's really cool. You build up your action spots with these modules.
That's cool.
So you can do like either balance it out, like with a little bit here, a little bit there. You can make like super action spots. So when you do activate that, you get loads of stuff.
Yes, and they only activate for certain colored cards. So that also dictates how you want to place your cards as well. Card placement is cool in this game.
Yeah, that's just one thing. Another thing I love in this game, which is a thing I always love in games, is kind of like a make your own scoring and a build your own strategy. And you have that in a couple of ways here. First off, you have like an artifact card, because you are unearthing these artifacts around in the world. And you get artifact card when you play it a couple of times, you draw 2 and you choose 1. And that shows 3 categories that you will score, each of them linked to an artifact color. And when you get an artifact in the game, you will then get to grab an artifact of a color that is available, and then you're going to score that category 2 times. So if you go for something and you will be able to get like a couple of those artifacts, it's going to score you lots of points.
Yes.
You can also build, as I said, the machines that you get and the modules. Like there's so much things to make it your own. Yeah. You also have this kind of player powers that you have that those are really cool, and a tech tree kind of.
Oh yeah, I like the what do you call it? The kind of mix in this game between the player powers that I have, but also the machines that I can acquire throughout the game. That also like it's a lot of. I feel like I'm building my own stuff, my own unique thing. But on the player powers account, I feel like there's something that you like start with. It's an action, use your player power, but you can also put some dudes on the map to kind of unlock a tech tree with more special things for your faction.
One thing I really like is that they have made the factions different enough, but not too different to make it like an asymmetrical game, which is then harder to play. You have 7 of these guys, the popular people that you can repopulate the world with, and 4 of those are the same kind of ability or instant action than the rest, and then 3 of them are different from all the other ones. Plus the special abilities, so you have up to 4 things that you can do that no other player can do. Yeah. Some of them are kind of small, like a little, or you can trade some things. Some of them are a special machine, or some of them are like the powerful actions that you start the game with. I would say that the factions are they feel different enough.
Yeah, I agree.
They are easy to learn. It's not like, oh, how does this faction work? It's just like, oh, this special ability is like that. That is that. That is that. That is that. Boom, you start playing.
I agree. I think that adds absolutely to the variability. Also, the map is modular, so it's not the same at all. You will be excited to see what is on the other side of the tile that you explore, because if you want to build something there, it's very crucial how that tile works out. And I also think that the game, even though I think it's hard to ignore certain aspects of the game.
Yep.
I think it's mostly natural that you do a little bit of everything.
That's true.
It's absolutely possible to focus on something in this game.
Yeah. Like, how does the game end? That's one thing that's interesting.
Yeah.
And that is when you take the lost artifact. So depending on the number of players, there's going to be different number of artifacts. And the game is one of those games that accelerate a lot.
Yeah.
In the beginning, you feel like, oh, nothing's going to happen. And then suddenly, boom, 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 the game is done.
Yeah.
Like the last game we played, there's 8 artifacts in a 2-player game. And the last game we played, you got 3 artifacts in 1 round.
Yeah.
So that's like almost half of the game's ending in 1 round. So it really feels like when you get closer to that point, when you play a few times, you will know when it's coming. And you get to that point and like, okay, no, I have to squeeze out those points or squeeze out get that artifact, even though the action might not be that good. I have to be able to do that to get that lost artifact to score in those points. And that is like, that's one way to score the points. The last game we played now, you had 5 artifacts, I had 3, and I did win the game.
Won.
So
That
it's not
really
like
cool.
it's not like you have to have all the artifacts. It's not like you have to go for one thing. So I feel like that is also an interesting thing to talk about. There's many ways to score in the game. It's not a point salad game, but there's many different ways to score and many viable options and viable paths to victory, I would say.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I have felt like in the variability thing, I've played 6 games and I felt like they are very different. I didn't feel like, oh, I'm doing the same thing again and again. And there's many reasons for that. All of the ones we have talked about, the player powers, the map, the interaction, what the other players are doing, and all of that. Before we go into final thoughts, I just want to say one thing, and that is that I read the designer diary for this game because I was excited to play. And Christian is saying that the game started out by them sitting down and just having a chat. What would be the ideal board game look like? And that's what started this project, like how to make the ideal board game. And to spoil kind of my final thoughts, I would say they might have succeeded.
Yeah.
So for the thing we have forgotten,
Is it
before
fun?
we go to final thoughts,
Is it fun?
Is it fun? And if you haven't seen it in my face already, yes.
Yeah, I'm going to. You made
You're gonna do
up...
like, is it fun in your final thoughts, or?
No, I made up a new word.
Okay.
Well, because you made up fun cannon.
Yeah.
I will say that this is a fun smoothie because it's so fun. So it's like
Is smooth is fun, or is cannons fun? I don't know.
no, it's so smooth. Like the game is so smooth. It's a fun smoothie.
It's a fun smoothie.
Or blender. I don't
So
know.
if you take
It's
your
like,
fun smoothie and you put it into my fun cannon and you just like fun, 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 and you drink the smoothie and it's very good. So yeah, it's
Yeah,
fun.
it's fun.
One of the most fun times I've had playing a game. Like every time we played it, I said, "Wow, this is fun."
Yeah.
And I don't
just-
do that when I play games often. I don't do that. I do that when we play the good games. But then this we played like 6 times now in a week, and I could have played it every day for a long time and still be like, "Wow, this is good. This is
Yeah,
fun.
Absolutely.
This is a gem of a game." Okay, so let's do final thoughts. Or do you want to say more about your friends movie?
No, let's do final
You can do
thoughts.
final
it
thoughts.
was kind of my final thoughts.
That's
so,
the
yeah.
end. Bye.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Well, I like this game a lot. I
Yeah.
think they have accomplished, like, a really cool game. It always makes me want to come back for more because of that kind of racy feeling that you get at the end of the game. And you'll be like, oh, just like one more round and I would have been like there, and you don't feel like you ever get enough.
Nope.
So to come back and be like, okay, this time I'm gonna do it, and then you get something else to focus on, and you be like, oh, that's a squirrel, that's some cool things over there, and oh, I can't let you build there because that's just too good. It was my plan,
Yeah.
but now I have to do it, and how easily you could get like side railed off to something that wasn't the plan. But yeah, it's just really fun. And you said like, oh, every game has felt different enough. I haven't played with all of the different like special abilities.
Powers, no.
I want to do that, but even though the puzzle in itself is so
good.
Yeah, it's just so satisfying to me that if we just like said, okay, it's the same thing like for the next 10 games, I would still be happy because it's a good thing. It's just like works. Yeah, this is a 9 for me. It's just like up there, super solid.
Okay. So, you don't like the game, that's nice. It's an obvious 10, like there's nothing to fault it for. I'm wondering why you're faulting it for that 10. There's no game that's perfect, so if that's what you're looking for your 10.
What is perfect?
It's a 10. It's like, it's one of the best games I have played this year. It's one of the best games I've played in a long time. It's just pure fun. It has to happen something very strange for this not to be high in the top list of the year.
Yeah, for sure.
I would be very, very weirded out if this is not somewhere in the top 100 next year. This is a blaster of a game. This is one of the funnest cannons that fun can. Like if you take a fun cannon and you put it into a bigger cannon and you just shoot it out, and then when it's in the air, it's gonna shoot fun all over the place. Then this is that game.
The whole world. Yay.
If you like Euro games, you should get this game.
Yeah.
If you like medium Euro games, you should get this game.
Yeah.
If you have not played any Aporta games, you should get this game. If you play all of them and like them, you should get this game. You should get this game. Like this is a game that I would, if I was a normal gamer, I could probably play this like 40, 50 times and not get bored with it. It's a fantastic game. And that is the end of another video.
Yes.
If you are still here and you didn't subscribe in the beginning, what can you do now?
You can subscribe. It's a button right under there.
And it says subscribe.
It says subscribe. And it's fun and it's free and it makes us happy. Like this. And if you want to do something that's not free, you can.
Go to patreon.com/boardgamingramblings and support us there.
Yeah.
And that is the end of the video. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Johannes.
I'm Cinema.
And you've been watching Board Gaming Ramblings, and bye-bye.
Bye.